Okay, welcome back. We are reading Around the World in 80 days. So we've had a great adventure so far with Mr. Fogg, Mr. Fix the inspector chasing after them, thinking that he's a thief and that he's stolen all the money from the bank. And then you've got the butler who joined the circus because he lost Mr. Fogg, and then Mr. Fogg found him. So let's see what happens in this chapter. Chapter 5, Racing Home. They had no time for explanations. Fogg and his beaming butler raced to catch the next ship for San Francisco. The princess, who had nowhere else to go, came too. She grew fonder and fonder of Mr. Fogg. So Mr. Fogg and the princess are falling in love. As the ship steamed on, the butler began to think Fogg would win his bet, but one day he saw Fix on deck. The inspector had secretly followed them again. "I'm sorry I tricked you." The inspector hit him. "Wait!" cried Fix. "It might have seemed I was against you before." "You were," said the butler. "Well, yes," agreed Fix, "and I still think Fogg's a thief, but now I want him in England. It's the only way I can arrest him." The butler didn't want to worry Fogg, so he kept quiet about all of this. But when Fogg went to get his passport stamped in San Francisco, he bumped into the inspector too. "What a surprise!" lied Fix, and joined them on the next stage of the journey, crossing America by train. Look, what a great adventure. The Pacific Railroad steamed right across the country to New York. It had every luxury on board, from shops to restaurants, but it still had to wait when a herd of buffalo crossed the track. How funny. The next obstacle was a shaky bridge. "I'll cross it at top speed," said the driver. He went so fast that the wheels barely touched the tracks. The train reared up and jumped across. As it landed on the other side, the bridge crashed into the river. Oh no! Look what's happened to the bridge. Soon after that, they hit real trouble. The train was steaming by some rocky cliffs when a band of warriors jumped onto the roof, and the warriors quickly took over the driving train. Oh no, look at the warriors. What's going to happen now? But the butler sped into action. Dun 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 dun. What's the butler going to do? Is he going to be able to save everybody in time? Let's have a look. The butler crawling under the train, he wiggled and swung all the way to the engine without being seen. Then he unhooked the engine and the train slowly came to a halt, but just beside the station. The butler is a hero! But when Fogg looked for his butler a few seconds later, he'd gone. "The warriors took him when they fled," shouted a guard, calling over some warriors. Fogg went into the hills to look for him. Oh no! Where has the butler gone? It took all day to find and free the butler. They had to camp out overnight and only got back to the station the next morning. By then, the train had long left, and the next one wasn't due until the next evening. Oh, are they ever going to get home? "I've done it again," wailed the butler. But Fix came to the rescue. "I've just met a man who owns a yacht," he announced. Soon they will be gliding over the snow. Wind filled the yacht's sails, and it whizzed over the icy plains. They caught up with the train for New York at the very next station. It puffed across the country at top speed, and Fogg still had his chance. He could still win the bet. Let's see if he does. They finally stopped at the station by a steamship pier on the bank of Hudson River in New York. But the ship to England had already left only 45 minutes earlier. Oh no, are they going to ever get back to England? No of the steamers would take them across the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, Butler was crushed, but Fogg just visited every ship in the port. Once again, he found a captain that would take them. The ship was sailing to France, but that didn't worry Fogg. He simply locked the captain in his cabin and changed course. The ship was fast, but it was not winter. It was now winter, and the weather was terrible. When the engineer gave Fogg more bad news, "The coal for the boiler's running out," he said grimly. "Oh, even my clever master can't solve this," said the butler. "So now they're stranded in the sea. Oh dear, will they ever get back?" Once again, Fogg surprised him. He ordered the sailors to cut down the masts and chop into logs. Then he told the astonished men to burn the wood in the ship's boiler. Now they don't need coal. They're going to use wood. Over the next 3 days, the sailors burnt the ship's bridges, the cabins, and even the decks. By the time they reached England, only the ship's metal was left. They landed in Liverpool, just in time for Fogg to catch the train to London and to win his bet. But as Fogg stepped off the ship, Fix made his move. What do you think Inspector Fix is going to do now? "Phileas Fogg," the detective announced, "I arrest you for stealing £55,000. Fogg was thrown into prison, and there was nothing Princess or the butler could do. "Oh no, Mr. Fogg is in jail. What's going to happen?" 3 hours later, they were waiting for news when Fix rushed in. His hair was a mess, and he looked ashamed. "I'm really sorry, Mr. Fogg. I've made a dreadful mistake." What? Fogg was freed again, but he had only 5.5 hours left. Fogg paid a special train that roared straight to London. As he pulled in, he checked the station clock. 8:55. Fogg had lost his bet by just 10 minutes. "Oh no, I don't believe it. I was so close." Only by 10 minutes. How do you think Mr. Fogg feels now? Let's see in the next chapter.